going through their review, it looks like almost everything is actually addressed. Vegetation, didn't get it to grow, but what'd you try to do?
The areas that haven't grown yet, the areas around the pond and around the park would be disturbed. Everything else is grown on the west side of the site, the pond is well established, and the majority of the back area near the park is established. You know, the intention is come springtime, hydro seed again. With the water program, we have the irrigation system.
Yeah, I drove through and pretty much what he said is what I saw.
I represent the Banks family who live at 16 Fullbrook Avenue. Their home has been sacrificed to the defective drainage system on this project. I believe that this lack of vegetation is like the canary in the coal mine. The project floods the parking lot, water accumulates all over the site, and nothing can grow with all that water. My question is, when they finish the building that they're working on, and they come to the building inspector and ask for a occupancy permit, what is the board's position?
Memorandum states that we're gonna obviously have to wait till next year to see what happens, and typically we hold the bond for that.
See, it's not being addressed. It's like the elephant in the room, you know?
Our interest is to see them improve the drainage system so that it works. When the water's stored in the parking lot, it increases the groundwater. And by withholding the occupancy permit, it gives them financial motivation to fix their defective system.
Our peer review says that they installed their drainage system per plan. Their engineers say they installed their drainage system per plan.
But the plan was defective, that's the
Right.
problem.
Yeah, at what point would they address these issues?
From our point of view, I don't think we have the ability to tell them to do anything about it.
Because you have several, it's not just our home, you have several homes that have been affected by this increased flooding. And like, these are all things that should be considered. When I hear about, you guys are the planning board, you do the plan.
The planning board is like a horrible name for an actual planning board, because most people tend to think that it's like playing SimCity, where we actually decide what goes where. That's not how it works. We don't get to decide that on this corner a fast food restaurant would be great. We decide whether or not it meets the requirements. There's a packet of zoning ordinance that says all the requirements to build all of these things. If you want to build this, these are all your requirements you have to meet. If you meet all those requirements, I legally have to say yes. The experts in this scenario are Beals and Thomas, and their engineers are the experts, and the attorneys who review it are the experts. If they come back and tell us everything's kosher, we have to go with what they say.
In 2017, the peer review engineers reviewed the application and at that time determined it met the requirements.
Yeah, it failed in 2014.
It failed.
And that's where your remedy, as being the neighbor, and this is the whole rigmarole, your remedy at this point is the civil part,
Right.
because you're the one who's damaged.
You returning to the board with this repeated concern, so unfortunately, it's just going to prolong the
Well, they have no
process.
place to live for the 5 years that it's going to take to get this through the courts, so that's the big problem here. They are
Steve.
living in a house without heat, without electricity.
Electricity.
And I do sympathize, and I get it. Our hands are tied, is what the problem is.